All right, we are live. This is our next to last stream of the year. I am joined by the one and only Gavin Charles of the well known Vanguard pod and his new stream, PALME D'ORKS. How are you doing, Gavin?
I'm doing great, doing great. What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to this interview, and I'm super excited to be chatting.
Awesome. It's awesome. And kind of a little scattered this evening because obviously a different setup. But as I say, this is the last interview stream of the year. I know that's been a long time since I've done an interview, about 2.5 years. So I guess we just talk about what's been going on lately in the world of politics and left media, so to speak. Maybe not so much left media, but film, because there's been so much going on there. And I couldn't think of anyone else better to talk than yourself.
Well, there has been quite a lot going on, in the world of politics. We're here at the end of the year, essentially. We got like less than 10 days, right, before the year comes to a close. So, yeah, a lot has happened. Is there anything specific? Hey, what's up, BCat? How's it going? It's good to see a familiar face in the chat. What's up, BCat? But yeah, what do you want to chat about, bro? What do you have any questions to ask me or some shit?
I think, with, I guess, let's say with the outcome of the election 1 year on. I mean, Trump's been in this term, I guess, for what, almost a year, 10 months. I guess, what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, my thoughts are that this fucking sucks. This is a horrible situation that we found ourselves in as a country. Yeah, another year of Donald Trump. I guess my main feeling is that I knew it would be bad, but I guess I couldn't have predicted just how like cartoonishly evil and dictatorial Donald Trump would be acting. You know, destroying the White House, adding stupid ballrooms, plundering the taxpayer money, and taking all these corrupt bribes from his elite buddies and foreign governments and all this kind of shit. It's literally crazier than anything that anyone could have actually imagined. So I guess that's my feeling, is just that I can't wait for it to be fucking over.
And we got probably the midterm, which we should also talk about because there's going to be some interesting takes there. Jesus, I'm starting to sound really like out of breath. I should be better at this. I've been doing this for almost 5 years, even part-time, and it's just like, dude, come on, get it together. Anyway, so I guess your thoughts on going forward into the 2026 election, the midterm election. I mean, I guess not really could be said much for either party at this point. I mean, they're sort of, if not a lost cause in general. I guess there's just not a lot of activism of sorts going on, if you get what I'm saying. And I guess like, how would you see the Democrats, as far as bad as they've been? Uh, how do you see them at this point with trying to get the young voter base back, no matter how much they try?
I mean, I think the Democrats pretty much suck, obviously, but I've been inspired by certain Democrats. You know, people like Zoran Mamdani, obviously, and I think that some Democrats, even though I disagree with them on issues, people like Jasmine Crockett, do show some of that fight that I think people are desperately wanting right now, because we're up against Trump, and people want like Democrats that will actually call Republicans fascists and criminals and stuff like that. So I've been, I have some level of optimism going into the midterms, as it relates to the Democrats and stuff like that. Obviously, again, most of them suck, but I do think that we're at the point as a country where people are I think they will be more than happy to go back to the boring old Democrats after the total insanity that we've been experiencing under Donald Trump. So, it's definitely a mixed bag. But again, Zoran makes me optimistic. The good work that the DSA is doing, that kind of stuff makes me optimistic. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not the best opposition that you could hope for.
Yeah, and I think also there just has to be a lot of movement politics going on. I think that's where I mean, as good as we could say that the Mamdani campaign leveled a lot of young voters since Bernie. I mean, we're talking like 10 years of a campaign strategy, of a movement strategy since 2016. And Zainab Day, I'm going to shout out for real quickly, wrote a interesting article on her Substack about the Mamdani campaign, basically saying it, yeah, this is great, but we've kind of been in this movement before with Obama in '08, Bernie in 2016, and AOC in 2018, where there's been a lot of talk, but there's very little action. And so, do you think that at least the DSA or the Democratic Party in general at this point should really take this seriously as far as the political movement and what Mamdani promised he should do? And also, do you believe strongly that Mamdani himself should stick with the promises and not try to be pulled into this like evil, uh, what I would call just corporate elitist side of the left that tried to pull AOC in, and unfortunately, they sort of succeeded. And do you think that Mamdani has to avoid that, and how he could uh, do so?
I mean, there's always the chance that any politician is going to disappoint people. But I guess my response to that criticism would just be like, what else are we supposed to do? Like, obviously, the third party option is not really a feasible option. It's not really a route that's proven to be successful. So it just seems like, what else is there? What else could we possibly do but run progressives, run socialists in the system that we have that exists? So, I mean, we'll see. I hope that Zoran does not disappoint people. I hope that he's delivers on his promises. I'm sure that there will be times where he disappoints people. But I think it's just one of those things where you just got to keep trying to elect the best candidate in any given election, in any given race. You vote for the best candidate, and that's the candidate that's the furthest to the left usually. So that's really all you can do as a voter. After that, I mean, you try to hold them accountable, but it is what it is. You just have to hope for the best.
I think I think that's a solid point. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little. I mean, we don't live in NYC. Obviously, I know that you did some really great work in the documentary world recently for Mamdani, and I think there. I want to be optimistic, and I hope he does well. Um, but I'm constantly have to be reminded that he cannot be swayed by the elitism of the Democratic Party, so to speak, because they will try to do that heavily, the same way they did with AOC, the same way they did with Bernie, the same way they did with Obama. And again, I would point out Zainab Day's recent article on her Substack, Bullhorn Bulletin, uh, is a really fascinating read. So I'll put that in the chat, or actually I'll put that in the description at the end here so people can check that out. But yeah.
Also, make sure to mute yourself, just so you know. But yeah, like right now.
Yeah.
Can you mute yourself? Okay, cool. Just making sure because I can hear an echo. But yeah, I mean, Zaina's been on our show a few times. Huge fan of her work. I think she's a really sharp writer, and I appreciate her kind of critical analysis of not only the Democratic Party as a whole, but the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. We've given voice to a lot of similar criticisms at the Vanguard as it relates to people like AOC. But again, I guess my response would just be like, if you don't like Bernie, if you don't like AOC, if you don't like Zoran, then like, okay, who do you like then? Like, what's an example of an effective left-wing politician in America? Because it seems like that's what we have. Like, you can just sit here and endlessly nitpick Bernie Sanders and AOC all day, but it's like, okay, what else are we gonna do? Like, show me the Green Party congressperson who's doing anything, who's actually, getting results for the left. It doesn't exist. simply does not exist at this point in time. I wish it did. But I mean, the last I checked, the Green Party was a total fucking embarrassment, a complete shit show. Remember when Cornel West tried to run? I mean, it was fucking embarrassing. So, I mean, I'd like, if there's a successful, viable third party that emerges, I'll be the first to support it. But I'm not going to support something that doesn't exist just because I want to pretend like I'm too pure for what we actually have in front of us, which is a handful of politicians that are significantly better and less corrupt than the ones that actually have power. So, I mean, that's my stance. But I definitely understand criticisms of Zoran. I've made some criticisms of Zoran myself. For example, I was pretty pissed off that he refused to endorse a challenger to Hakeem Jeffries. I think it's total bullshit that Hakeem Jeffries just gets to sail through his reelection with no challenge. Like that's fucking crazy to me. But at the same time, I don't really think it's productive to just sit here as leftists and just constantly nitpick the few progressives in Congress. It's just like, that's like what Jimmy Dore does. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the vibe I get from those sort of criticisms, where it's like, the guy's not even fucking mayor yet. He literally hasn't even done anything yet. Like, can we chill before we fucking decide that he's already sold out?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And again, I think it's important that we also take the wait and see approach. Having said that, I don't live in, neither of us live in New York, so it's just, we're gonna have to also wait and see from a spectator, from one city to the other, if you get what I'm saying. And also people like Jimmy Dore, I don't believe that's more people like him, folks like him that are like wannabes and has-beens that are selling out to like Bobby Kennedy Jr. at this point should have any way of talking or opinion whatsoever of any politician on the left. It's just it's a disgraceful sort of thing, and people like him should be ignored, like full stop. That's why I'm happy that I've never been a fan of him, even when he was working for the Young Turks. I saw right through this fella, from day one, and I have to pinch myself every day. Hank, or well, Jank rather. I was like, why? What the fuck's his motive for hiring him? What was his motive? I think we'll never know. We'll never know. It'll just be kind of a wait and see approach. But anyway, I guess that's a little bit of the political talk. I know that's not as brief, but because I know you're a big film buff, and I can say full talk, real talk, that you did at least 3 films now independently, locally here in Kansas City. One of which I was a part of. But you recently did the film No Clip, shot here in Kansas City with your friend Alex Kahn. It's out on Blu-ray and DVD. I guess your thoughts on independent film, where that's headed, because I know it's a changing landscape in terms of the streaming service and the dissipation of physical media, which I believe is a terrible it's a terrible thing. You know what I'm saying? With like the way physical media has been diminished, and it's not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with your point about physical media. As someone who collects movies and has, literally hundreds and hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays, yeah, it's really heartbreaking to see that kind of go away. Like the physical media industry disappear. I think that more than anything, it's kind of becoming a boutique market, right? With like the Criterion collection, stuff like that. I kind of see modern day physical media as pretty similar to like record collecting, right? Like back in the day, in the 70s and the 80s, like if you wanted to listen to music, you had to go buy a record. You had to put it on your fucking turntable and listen to it. Nowadays, everyone uses Spotify, right? Or YouTube, right? And that's basically what's happened with film. Now everyone just watches Netflix, and the actual collectors, much like vinyl collectors, people that buy Blu-rays are people that are really passionate about film, people that want to collect movies, people that want to, touch movies, like the freaks that we are, right? I don't just want to watch the movie. I want to own it. I want to touch it. I want to be able to smell it. No, I'm just kidding. I want to do all sorts of unspeakable things to it. No. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it is sad though, because yeah, I mean, in a sense, again, it's kind of making it so that it's more of a boutique hobby for real collectors, real fans of cinema, like myself, like yourself. But it is sad. It is sad. No denying that. And it's funny because I feel like basically the entire time I've been into collecting movies, I kind of knew that this was coming. Like even back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, like when I first started getting into this shit, like people at that point were already kind of talking about how like, you know, someday this is going to go the way of the dodo. You know, this is going to be like, you know, vinyl records or cassettes. You know, when people used to buy cassettes to listen to music on, you know, people have always kind of predicted that physical media would end, or that it, like as an actual viable industry. And it seems like we are finally kind of reaching that point where, yeah, it's just like some movies nowadays, they don't even get a Blu-ray release. You know, sometimes I'll see a movie that I really liked, and then I'll try to find it on DVD or Blu-ray, and it just doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray release, and it's not getting one. And that's really terrifying, right, from a film preservationist perspective, because as a filmmaker myself, his movie is on streaming services. It's on 3 streaming services. NoClip is. I know that that's not forever, right? Like the distributor of NoClip, Ethos, as soon as they want to, they could pull it from all of those streaming services. And I'm not sure if that will ever happen. I'm not sure when that will happen, but there could be a point where it's like a year or two goes by and they're like, yeah, it's not worth it for us to host this film on these services anymore, so it's not going to be available. And that's a big part of the reason why I made Blu-rays of NoClip, and why I've been sending it out to various video stores around the country and just trying to gift it to people that want to watch the movie, because, you know, I anticipate that. I imagine that it's very possible that at some point you won't be able to watch NoClip on a streaming service. And, you know, that's pretty scary, because if there's no Blu-rays and there's no DVDs, then that kind of means the movie ceases to exist, right? If it's only existing on streaming services, and then it gets taken off of those streaming services for whatever reason, and there's no physical media, then it doesn't exist. And that's a horrifying thought, right? Because if you think about like a lot of other forms of art, you know, a painting, for example, the Mona Lisa could burn down in a fire, but you can still Google Mona Lisa. You can still look at it. You know, people will be able to enjoy that no matter what, right? You can print it out, right? You can have it shipped to you as a reproduction. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it would be a tragedy if the original burned, obviously, but, you know, it's not like you can't still look at it. But when it comes to movies outside of pirating, it is kind of like that. You know, again, if Netflix decides to take a title off of their streaming service and it doesn't have a Blu-ray, then you're shit out of luck. Again, unless you're a pirate. So that's what I would say about physical media. As far as being a filmmaker, an independent filmmaker, you know, I guess one thing that kind of like pisses me off about independent filmmaking is like, my whole life I grew up hearing about these filmmakers in the 90s, people like Kevin Smith and Robert Rodriguez. And, you know, hear these like inspirational stories like, oh, this guy he sold all of his mortal possessions to fund this movie. You know, Kevin Smith sold his entire comic book collection, right? Robert Rodriguez, like, you know, let weird medical experiments, scientific experiments happen to himself to get the money in order to make whatever the fuck it's called. Do you remember what the fuck is that movie called? God damn it.
No, I can't.
It's the Desperado's the sequel, but it's, yeah, either way, whatever the fuck his movie was. El Mariachi, sorry. You know, he did all this crazy shit to fund El Mariachi. And part of the reason why is because back in that time period, it was very expensive to make a movie, to shoot a movie. You had to buy film. You had to buy enough film to shoot the film and then get the film back in a lab. And it was a costly, you know, process that took a lot of time. And nowadays, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, you literally don't have to do that anymore. Almost every single person has a camera. Almost every single person owns a camera now. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and now I sound like a motivational speaker. So, you know, go make a movie. But for real, like, you have a fucking camera. You have a fucking, assuming you have like, you don't even really need a friend. You can do it by yourself. When I was, you don't have to fucking have a bunch of people in your movie. You just have to come up with an idea that you can make with the limited resources you had. And that's exactly why I made No Clip. That's exactly how I made No Clip. Me and Alex just, picked up our phone cameras, went down the street to Crown Center, started filming, started smoking, started talking some shit. The next thing we know, we have a found footage movie. And it got into film festivals, right? So, I'm not trying to tout my own fucking inspirational story or whatever, but I do think that, like, if I can fucking do it with my phone, then, like, why the fuck can't a lot of other people do it? Why is everyone sitting around waiting for permission? Why is everyone sitting around waiting for someone to give them like $1 million fucking dollars, or like for Brad Pitt to call them up and say, "Hi, can I be in your movie?" Like, it's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen. Go do that shit. Like, if you have an idea, if you want to make film art, if you want to make cinematic art, then fucking do it.
I agree, and I think that's also that's a good point. I mean, it's really a DIY uh, industry now, especially the film industry, the independent industry. You could say that about anything. Like, I'm as far as writing goes. I mean, I am trying to get this screenplay off the ground with this horror slash found footage film. Speaking of, called Hellsville. I don't even think it's a found footage. It's in the horror genre, but uh, I'm still kind of deciding what side of the genre it is. And so it's like, I'm thinking about how am I going to be able to fund this? But it's like you could just go to any, writing center and they'll tell you how it's funded. I think that's the idea of being DIY and being independent. You don't need these like corporate backers like Paramount or Miramax or whatever, Imagine Entertainment or New Line Cinema, all good companies, but you don't really need them to like see your work. I mean, it could have been done 30 years ago. It's a different world now in the film industry, and it's kind of also in the streaming industry too. Uh, People like us, we became podcasters I mean, purely out of during lockdown, during COVID. I've been interested in journalism since I was 13, and I tried my best to get into these. I mean, I had a job shadow uh, at the local news station here in Kansas City, and thought there was going to be something that came out of it. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. So during COVID, I've been watching a lot of left media, and I was like, well, I want to do that. If these people can make their own YouTube channel, their own Twitch stream, I can do that easy as pie. So it's just like, get a microphone, have a laptop or a desktop, and go at it and just do what you can, and people will come.
I think that that's totally right. And I mean, I think I applied a lot of the philosophy that I believe led to my success in YouTube and on YouTube. I kind of brought that into the world of filmmaking, because I mean, if you think about it, media at this point, anyone can do it. Anyone can participate in it. Some of the biggest media figures are just random people, talking like we are into a laptop. They don't have a degree, they don't have a fucking qualifications, but you can still find success if people want to hear what you're talking about. And that's kind of what I realized with the Vanguard. It kind of blew my mind, because it's just like, are you sure we're allowed to do this? Like, no one's going to ask for our qualifications. No one's going to ask for our certificates or whatever. Nope. It doesn't matter. Shout out to you, Soul Life. What's up, bro? Where are the ladies? That's what I'm asking. If I got into it for the ladies, then where the fuck are they? Come on, ladies. I'm waiting around. But but yeah, I mean, I think that in something that a lot of people don't realize is that basically, pick your fucking industry, pick your field. You don't need permission anymore to join, to find your way into that world. And obviously that doesn't mean that just anyone can do it, but if you have the talent or the desire, the passion, the drive, I really do think you can basically just fake it till you make it. Like, when it comes to anything, almost. I mean, maybe I doubt you can fake it till you make it and become like a heart surgeon, but as far as like art and entertainment and stuff like that, like, yeah, All that matters is like, can you get your shit out there? Do you know what people want? Is your finger on the pulse? Can you think like a consumer? You know, not to sound like a fucking capitalist, but you know what I'm saying? Can you think like someone that wants to watch this content that you're making? And if you can do that, and if you just don't give up, then yeah, you can find yourself doing just about whatever the fuck you want, in my opinion. At least that's been my experience. Maybe I've just gotten like a little bit lucky. I don't know. But I mean, I never expected that the Vanguard would take off like it did. I remember back like, you know, a few years before we started the podcast, Zach would always say like, bro, we should start a podcast. We should start a podcast. And I would always say like, you really think that like we're gonna like you? I mean, not that I didn't trust like that we were gonna be good at it, but I was like, everyone has a fucking podcast. You know, that was like the meme. It was like everyone has a fucking podcast, bro. Like everyone's trying to do this. Very few people are actually succeeding. I don't want to just embarrass myself by like putting this crap out there that no one watches. But you know, I was shocked, right? About a year in, I was like, holy fuck, here we go. This is the train is leaving the station, you know? And it's just like, shit. I didn't even think I could do it. And then it fucking happened. So again, I would say it's the same thing with film or really just about anything. Just fucking do it.
You're like one of the most honestly, the most passionate people that I've had, and, you know, we've been friends, I think, for about 2 years now. You know, we got to know each other a little over 2 years ago, I believe, and, you're honestly one of the most passionate people I've ever met, so you're also the most really good driven people. You and Zach, I think that, you guys tend to have this, like, good positive mentality of, like, just go for it, you know, like you were saying. You know, and what's good will come out of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean that is definitely increasingly my philosophy. Because yeah, it's just like you kind of figure out that you can just do whatever you want. Like you can just fucking do whatever you want. And that's a pretty liberating feeling because I do feel like most people, especially when it comes to art and especially when it comes to creativity and expressing themselves, like it's such a beautiful thing to do. And it's such a like honest thing to do. And it's such a brave thing to do. And because of that, a lot of people don't do it, right? Because they are scared to embarrass themselves. And they are scared to make art because they think it'll just be stupid or like, you know, no one will care. But I just say do it for the sake of doing it, you know, even regardless of success. Like it is really worth doing. Like there's nothing that has fulfilled me in my life more than just being able to sit back and look at something that I made, whether it's a YouTube video or even just a thumbnail. Like you really do get a very rewarding feeling from it. And people should not be afraid of embarrassing themselves because the worst that can happen is that nobody will watch it. And then who cares? I mean, what's embarrassing about that if no one even saw it, right? Like if it's that bad, then who really cares? At least you fucking did something. So again, that's kind of my mentality when it comes to that stuff. And like, I mean, take my film, for example, No Clip, like that movie, a lot of people fucking hate it. Like if you look at the reviews on Letterboxd, like a bunch of people hate it. And you know, some people would look at that and be like, "I failed." You know, it's a disgrace. Everyone hated it or something. But you know, I look at that and I'm like, "Hey, at least it's something provocative. At least like it's actually you know provocative in an artistic way, in a narrative way, in a way that kind of does almost like you know provoke people." Like I said, like in the same way that some of my favorite art pieces have. Even if you look at like Marcel Duchamp's fountain, right, the famous sculpture, right, like that's like that kind of shit has always been my main inspiration when it comes to art. Like stuff that doesn't make everyone happy, stuff that isn't crowd pleasing. You know, I'm not interested in making a movie that everyone's going to love and that's going to win an Oscar, right? I'd much rather make something that's challenging, that's like experimental and new and weird. And I don't want to say boundary pushing because again, it sounds like I'm just fucking jerking myself off over here. But like, yeah, I'd rather make something that's boundary pushing and weird and that doesn't quite connect with everyone than try to make something that'll please everyone, just ultimately to not really please anybody. So, you know, again, I'm kind of rambling, but that's some of my thoughts. Thanks, Matt. If you're talking about letter, or if you're talking about No Clip.
Yeah, what's up, Matt? Good to see you. I know it's been a long time, but yeah, that's actually a good positive outlook to have when you're doing stuff, when you're doing film, podcasting, or like streaming. I think that we should just keep positive, and again, it's a DIY business. If you build it, they will come, you know. And the other like downside of that is people who try to get too full of themselves. I think we've discussed that in private a few times about people who tend to, because they want to make money and they want to get famous, and it's just like, if that's all it's about, then you're not doing a good service. But that's just my feeling. That's my outlook. I know everyone doesn't share that outlook, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. And that David Lynch shirt is really cool, by the way. Um, just trying to like break the ice.
I still can't believe that he passed away this year. Honestly, it's like, I mean, obviously there's been so many horrible things going on this year that it sounds fucked up, but like that's been one of the most defining moments to me, just as far as like real emotional, you know, it really hit me hard, man. Like that shit. Like David Lynch was not only my favorite filmmaker, he is my favorite filmmaker, but like he really was for a long time kind of my it's going to sound cheesy, but kind of like almost a spiritual guide or leader, someone whose outlook on life I really valued, someone whose approach to creativity and to art, like just meant everything to me, man. Like, you know, uh, when I was getting into movies, like really hardcore, obviously I was watching through all the classics and stuff, but David Lynch was the first film artist that I really connected with on like a personal level, where I saw myself in David Lynch, watching his interviews. And I was like, holy shit. Like again, I'm sure lots of people say this about David Lynch, but I was like, that could be like he's like he could be like my brother or like my older cousin or something like that. That's how much I relate to his personality, and even small things like how much he loves coffee and cigarettes, and like all my vices or his vices, and like just his outlook on life. I've always related to it so much. So it was kind of like, losing your father that you never actually met or something. Like that's how it felt when he died to me. I was like, this guy doesn't know who the fuck I am, obviously. But I've viewed him as like this spiritual leader, this artistic influence, this person that meant, so much to me. So that really did hit me hard. And again, it's like, I've never been affected by a celebrity death in the way that affect, or not celebrity, but, popular public figure, like literally never been hit so hard by anyone's passing that I can remember. But yeah.
I think the person that I would, if like one of my biggest heroes in the music world was Michael Stipe of REM, and I think if he passes on, it's gonna hit me hard in the same way. And actually, interesting thought, David Lynch worked with REM, I think, on one of their albums on the album Automatic for the People. He think he did the work for Star Me Kitten, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look it up. But they had a collaboration in the early 90s. I think 1992 is when they collaborated. But yeah, that's a sad. I mean, that's really sad when your heroes, the ones that have no skeletons in their closet and no blind spots. It's sad when they pass away like that. It's really it could be unexpected. And I have to say, I've in the past on the Vanguard and in private, that I've actually said to you that you and Zach, but you most of all, were very influential in introducing me to the work of David Lynch. So
I mean, I'm glad that I was able to help introduce you to his work, because it's just so, it's crazy how much it lives on too. Like I feel like after his death, even more people started to, talk about it. Obviously, when someone dies, it's going to create more interest in their work and stuff like that. But yeah, it's almost to the point now where it's like, when I was getting into David Lynch, he still kind of felt a little bit underground, a little bit avant-garde. And now it just seems like, he is the like number one kind of surrealist American filmmaker. I guess he kind of always has been, at least in my lifetime, but now it just seems like it's like almost like mainstream in a sense. Like, like I guess back in the '90s when Twin Peaks was actually on, it might have felt similar. But in the wake of his passing, it really does feel like it's just like the cool thing to be inspired by David Lynch, to be influenced by David Lynch, which I can't talk shit on because of the fact that I'm so inspired by David Lynch, and my movie is clearly very influenced by David Lynch. But I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit annoying to just see almost every fucking movie these days trying to rip off David Lynch. Like I see it all the time. That's like every time I go to the fucking movies, I'm like, yep, they're referencing David Lynch. Like we get it, bro. But again, that's just a testament to how powerful his work is and how much it connected with so many different people.
So unoriginal, just so unoriginal. They're just plain copycats, to put it bluntly. But yeah. So you also now, I guess you could say you've taken a YouTube channel that you've had previously, and you and Zach have rebranded that. I think if you can see in the this little thing here, the new channel Palm Dorks, which you should all go subscribe to. Let me do a screen share really quick. Uh, let's see here. I just want to put it in the description for folks to. Okay. Go back here. Oh, see, now we got the cat cam. Now we have the cat cam. That's gonna get us a good amount of viewers. Yeah. So here it is. There she is, and then here's here, here's the site. Oh,
Yeah, there it is. Go subscribe, everyone. Palm Dorks. It's the new Vanguard channel where we talk about movies. That beautiful logo
oh,
you can see there. Oops. Sorry about that. LOL. I was just gonna say shout out to Matt from the Letter Hack for doing that beautiful logo, as you can see right there. Really love that. So shout out to Matt, and yeah, everyone go subscribe to the channel if you're interested in hearing us talk about movie news, reviews, a little bit of gossip as far as like figures and in film media stuff like that. So we're having a good time trying to build it up a little bit. Trying to get back to monetization right now. It's kind of annoying that we lost our monetization because we went like a year without uploading anything to the channel without realizing without realizing that that would cause our monetization to lapse, which is super fucking annoying. Because one thing I will say is like now that all of the shit I create is monetized, it does feel like I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why am I doing this free labor? That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm being exploited. So everyone go make sure to watch a few of those videos and help us get that monetization back. We're like almost there. You need 3,000 public watch hours. I think we're at like 1,000, so we're like a third of the way there. We just really need one or two videos to kind of blow up, but it is a pain in the fucking ass. Not gonna lie.
I kind of want to. Speaking of this new channel, I mean, I've been, kind of curious enough because this is like chocolate cake to me, man. I've been going through these videos and really enjoying myself. But this one, if you don't mind, uh, I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the movie YouTubers John Flickinger and Chris Stuckman. Of course, Stuckman made a film recently called Shelby Oaks, which I know you have seen and I have yet to. Going to be in the new year, actually. But this was something that I was actually interested in seeing your take on the flick pick response. I think let me see if it's this one, and I'll try to play just a little bit of it.
Shelby Oaks. I get what you're picking up there. Okay. Has Stuckman reached out at all since you reviewed Shelby Oaks? No, people love this shit. I watched an EFAP video someone sent me the other day where EFAP was talking about Shelby Oaks and they used my review to start out the video with. And just like their take on what I was saying, it's just like they completely missed the fucking point. But anyway, my point is right now, he did reach out to me before the movie came out. He did invite me to the world premiere of the movie in Los Angeles, but it was a week or two notice, and I wasn't going to spend $500 on plane tickets and another $500 in a hotel room. Like, don't get me wrong, if I could drive to it in the vicinity of a nearby state, I would have. I would have. But then I got a link to watch it at home. But anyway, yeah. So no, I've not heard from him since a text message, and I don't know if he would ever talk to me again after I put out my.
I was actually interested because I find these. I'll stop the sharing. I kind of find these films, these YouTubers, these movie YouTubers, sort of late in life. So I was surprised to know that both Chris Stuckman and John Flickinger, or Flickpick, I guess as he calls himself, have been doing movie YouTube for quite some time, about like 15 years or so, since like 2009, 2010. And I know that you say in the video that you've actually watched both of them for years. And I guess apparently the story is they've fallen out after excuse me, Flickinger reviewed Shelby Oaks, and he and Stuckman, who were like this, they were like real close friends. And I guess Stuckman was bothered by his mixed review. Uh, as I guess I would say, like if you look at Shelby Oaks, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good either. So the reviews are kind of mixed, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about filmmaking, is that Stuckman shouldn't really have that deter him from making his next film. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, like just keep at it, and he'll get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I was not a big fan of Shelby Oaks at all. I thought it was pretty bad, to be honest. But yeah, I definitely think you could look at the John Flickinger comments on Chris Stuckman as being a little bit jealous. I think John Flickinger is someone whose YouTube career is kind of stalled out. He's not really as popular as he used to be. He doesn't get a lot of views. And then he looks over at his good old buddy Chris Stuckman, and not only is Chris Stuckman's channel doing better, but he's also making feature films. So despite the fact that Shelby Oaks sucks ass, I do think that John Flickinger is kind of jealous about that. And I like John, but I think that's just a pretty obvious read of the situation. I think you have to see that. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But I think that Chris Stuckman, like you said, he'll definitely make something else. I'm sure it'll be better than Shelby Oaks.
Yeah, I also feel like he has to kind of take the criticism constructively, because it'll make him a better filmmaker. A lot of people like myself and like yourself tend to do that as well, and his next project will reflect that, whether it be in the horror genre or any genre. I feel like Stuckman you know, could branch out. I don't think that horror is going to be his like only one and only genre to do film. I think he's going to make a lot of interesting film, and it's going to be interesting to see where that takes him. I'm not saying he's going to make the next Marvel movie or DC movie or anything like that. It'd be interesting to see that, but you know, just kind of curiosity in me now.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, he's apparently friends with Mike Flanagan, so he could like direct some episodes of whatever Mike Flanagan does next on Netflix, or I'm sure that those kind of connections will definitely allow him to continue making something or directing something again, even if it's just like episodes of someone else's Netflix show. I'm sure he has a foot in the door now. Those kind of connections will definitely allow him to keep making stuff. Again, I just hope whatever he does next is a little bit better than Shelby Oaks, because I thought Shelby Oaks was pretty mid.
As we say, most films, your first film's not always going to be. It's not going to always be a slam dunk. Um, you know, Again, you have to look at it constructively and learn from it, and then the next project you do will be even better. And also with the way circulation happens, retrospectively, you could say that a couple years from now, the passage of time could be kinder to Shelby Oaks. It could be kinder to No Clip too, if you think about it. folks can actually look at the film and say that this is actually really great. The people who are just basically shitting on both the films on places like IMDb and Letterboxd, I mean, they'll have a second guess in a couple of years from now.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. And I mean, that is the one good thing about streaming is that it does make it easier for people to watch the movie if they want to, assuming it is easily streamable. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that more people watch No Clip, find it online, find it. It's even on YouTube now on a channel called Stash Found Footage. So, lots of different ways to find these movies.
Nice. I wish I could put that in the chat right now and people can just go see it that haven't, because I know there's like a bunch of people that haven't seen it and they're probably dying to see it now after watching this. You know, I honestly hope that's the outcome. And I'm saying that in the most nicest way possible, man. You know, um, I would say that's about it. I mean, we're actually past our mark. I know this is kind of short than normal, but we all have a thing because it is the holiday, and we are going to be planning as it is. As you actually have some plans. I won't say what out of privacy concerns, but if we had any like Q&A type stuff to do, I would do that. I'll probably just throw some chats up, whether they're questions or not.
I mean, yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'm definitely happy to answer them. But appreciate you having me on, bro.
I know it's been. I think it's been what the last time I checked it. The last time we did this was 2 years ago, and completely different situation there. I had shorter hair. I was clean shaven. People could go back and look at that interview. We were actually looking at it before we came on to do this, and we were both like, wow, one of us has actually changed. I feel like I am a little bit more I feel like a little bit more older, a lot more older.
Get down. Get the fuck down. Jerry.
Y'all are getting some cat action on the live stream. Gavin's cat has decided to take over this stream, which is nice.
Yeah, fucking rascal. She's always jumping on the counter now. I'm like, what the fuck? Get the fuck down. She wants more chicken. I've been feeding her this shredded chicken, and she knows that it gets prepared on the counter, so she just jumps up on the counter like thinking there might be some fucking, I guess, extra shit that I forgot to sweep off the counter. But alas, there's not. So
just out of curiosity, for those wondering, yes, we are in the same place. So,
oh yeah, I thought that's kind of trippy. If someone just realized that when I got up to like get the cat off the counter, they were like, "What the fuck? He's behind." Yeah, no, John is in my house. I don't know how he got in here. I just came home and he was fucking sitting in the living room. I was like, "What the fuck? How did this man get in my house?" Now he's being gracious enough to house sit for me while I'm in California over the next week for the holidays. But yeah, that has led us to find ourselves. In fact, I can come over here and this will be trippy.
yeah.
There's a little behind the.
There's a little behind the scenes action, okay? I guess also no pun intended, but the cat's out of the bag now. I used to say we've been friends for the last 2.5 years, which is great because I've had a really good life experience hanging out with Gavin and learning new things that I haven't really learned before. And I say that in a positive way, in respect to you. I mean, I have a much better appreciation of things like film and movies and just directors and stuff like that I hadn't before. Like if you would have asked me like 3 years ago, anything by David Lynch, I would have given you a blank stare and like, what? But now I'm actually a lot more interested in David Lynch's work. We actually watched, I'll just say this, we also watched this year's Oscars, and we were shocked that if they didn't interview, if they didn't do in the in memoriam part, if they didn't do David Lynch, we were gonna flip the table over, so to speak. No, we didn't actually do that, but
They
you
should
get
have
what
given
I'm
him a
saying.
whole they should have given him like a whole ass, section, more than just and they should have given him like a full proper tribute instead of they gave a tribute to someone else that was like not nearly as deserving. I forget who it was, but I was like, why the fuck? It was like someone that wasn't even related to movies. It was like, here's a tribute to like this person who like wrote plays or like musicals, or I was like, what the fuck is going like this is what about David Lynch? But either way, you're not wrong. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like sitting there going, who the fuck? I mean, not to diminish that person's importance, like I've forgotten who they are, but I'm like, who the fuck is this? It was interesting.
Oh, I think it was like the music producer guy. Remember like the really famous music producer?
Oh, Quincy Jones.
Yeah. And it was like, bro, he wasn't even like a fucking film. Like, he wasn't a director or an actor. Like, not that I don't respect him, but I was just like, why the fuck is this guy getting a tribute at the Oscars?
You know it's all live. No, I don't think that's it. But I try my best to be in the Vanguard chat as much as possible. I'm one of the mods. That's also a cat out of the bag. I'm just basically exposing myself to every troll out there, so I might as well change my address, change my phone number. I'll probably have to change my name.
I think everyone knows you're a mod. You have the fucking symbol next to your name in our chat.
Yeah, one of the most nosiest mods out there. I'm like literally one, not to brag or boast. I mean, Soul Life can probably boast more than I can, and probably BCat too. I don't know if she's a mod in Vanguard chat, but I'm probably one of the left's premier moderators, and I can tell you 99.999% of them are all better than the Young Turks. Sorry to anyone who's a fan of still those motherfuckers, but I'm unapologetic.
Well, like I said, man, I appreciate you having me on. It was fun to field some questions.
Yeah, have you on as in we're in the same place.
It's been on your show, on your channel.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But yeah, it was fun, dude. I appreciate you having me on. Like I said, shout out to Soul Life, shout out to BCat K, shout out to fucking the Letter Hack. Love all you guys.
Yeah, also shout out Adrian Vixen and
Adrian
Carlos.
too, yeah. Shout out to you, Adrian Vixen.
And yeah.
Fuck TYT. I agree. I am Gavin from the Vanguard, so I guess I have to say that, the obligatory fuck TYT.
If people give you all shit for, I think you have to mute yourself. Real quickly, I mean, people give y'all shit for being like the anti-TYT channel. It's like, if there was anybody out there to do that, I mean, there was at some point Progressive Voice, who was a big inspiration to most people. I think it's worked for you, basically. I mean, even when I was modding for TYT, I mean, I've never really said this before, but I had my doubts, I had my disagreements, but I just had them privately. But anyway, we'll get off here. We're over our time. I'll just let Gavin do the whole plug thing, even though pretty much everyone needs to know how to find him. But just do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, subscribe to the Vanguard on YouTube if you haven't already. PALME D'ORKS, name of the shows are down below on the little thingy going by. So yeah, hit those up. Subscribe to the show. And yeah, subscribe to John's channel as well.
Yes, please. I've been doing this 5 years. Come on. I know I'm part-time. I keep saying I'm going to go full-time, y'all. It's just, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, a few subscribes would be, I might get like 94 subscribes, which is not that important, but I have a very Christ-like mentality. I think you mentioned that rightfully so earlier. I have a very Christ-like mentality. Like, go subscribe to people like Adrian Vixen. I mean, Also, like, I would hope they don't mind me doing the shout out, but they need to get their Twitch channel back because they were unfairly banned from Twitch a year and a half ago, and it's not it's not good. I mean, they need to get their Twitch channel back ASAP if they don't mind me saying that publicly. So, and now I have to do the thing that for the Twitch people for the purple site. I have to raid, and I know that Gavin doesn't really do raids, doesn't really do Twitch. Uh, so it's going to be hard for me to find someone to raid. So actually, what I'm going to do here, if you'll just stay with me here, and I'll open up another tab. I wish I had my monitors. Actually, I can just turn my head, and you're back there, so I know you're still watching. No, it's just my way of deadpan humor. Yeah, that's I'll just throw it. Yeah, that's just it was ridiculous. But anyway, let me do this whole Twitch raid thing.
Yeah, shout out to Adrian. Hopefully your channel gets restored at some point.
I guess I'll do real quickly ask you how come you guys aren't involved in the Twitch side?
Just because I hate Twitch.
Oh, well.
Good point.
Yeah, no offense to anyone that likes it. It's not for me. What's up, chat? How's it going to the, 6 people, 5 people that are watching this? 6 whole people.
Not very much. But
I hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas, or a Happy Holidays. Got to be politically correct. We're here on progressive YouTube. Got to be politically correct. So Happy Holidays to everybody. Yeah, you should start a very contentious political debate at your family gathering with your most right-wing family member. Get them drunk, and then start talking about Epstein. Bring up Zoran. Talk about how awesome Islam is. That's what I would do if I were you.
Nice. Let's see. So I'm looking on Twitch of who to raid, and there's not very many. Let's just see. Flip a coin. I guess I'll do Cinemarxism on the base that they supported Casey Tenets.
Hell yeah. Shout out to those guys.
All right. I guess before I do that, I will just say I'm actually going to be back here, if not this week, to do a final stream of 2025 before the year ends. So I don't know when that will be yet. It'll probably be just some random out of the blue stream. So until then, as Gavin said, have a happy holiday, and see you in 26. And
It's time to go. It's time to go fight the war on Christmas together.
funny.
Let's all join in and fight the war on Christmas. We got to end Christmas, guys, once and for all. We got to replace it with a new Islamic, version of Christmas. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Let's all join in the fight on Christmas together.
And with the raid starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to raid now. See you in 26.